Now we are going to do these rocks on the left hand side of the picture. Now the important thing about doing these rocks is that they don't look the same. They're like they look kind of random, and that's the effect we want in terms of spacing and size. That's very, very important. Naturally we will tend to make them all look the same. It's just the way the brain, I think, works. It likes this kind of order, which is probably a good thing normally, but when we paint things, we often find there's an irregularity, and so we have to try and paint that, and it can sometimes just not feel natural. So there's one rock, and then I'm going to do another one very close to that. Now you can copy what I've done exactly, but I will tell you this was all done from my imagination, so I don't know. I really don't know if you want to copy something exactly that came from my imagination, but it looks all right. And yeah, I might do them even closer, those two, and this one bigger, like that, and one there. And you have to work quick because these rocks are drying out. As you can see, I'm using the liner brush now. These rocks are drying out very, very quickly, and we want to add reflections at the bottom, so we've got to be fairly quick. I mean, I could stop now at any point and start doing the bottoms, and you might even want to try and do a little mark like that. It's up to you. It takes a bit of a while to master this technique, like the tissue technique as well, and at first it's probably not going to look very good. So now I'm doing the reflections. So just a slight indication, and as you can see, I'm working quite quickly now, so if you can't work that quickly, if you need a bit more time, then just paint 3 rocks and then do these shadows. And in some ways I left this a bit too late, and I'm getting a bit of a mark coming up the paper now, but I can hide that by just painting the whole rock. My reflection was too watery, that's why, and the paint above too dry. But you can correct those kind of things. Yeah, in fact, I'm not happy with that rock at all. I'm just going to do it all again. So you can do that. Yeah, and there we go. Maybe a little bit more. And yeah, I think that looks quite nice. I'm getting a lot of glare at the moment, so I can't see it as well as I'd like to. I've decided to join those two together. I think that works better. Okay, and then I'm going to wash the brush out, dry it, and then do this. Sometimes I'm having to paint a little further away from the painting than I normally would, and that's because I don't want you to see the top of my head and the bald patch I've got. I can never see it, but I know it's there because my wife's told me. I don't think that's going to look aesthetically pleasing. so I'm sometimes having to stretch over quite a bit, okay, so that my head doesn't show under the camera. So I think that's looking pretty good. I might do a few more. One more here, just little ones now. Oops. Okay. And then these little reflections. Okay. I might try and... oh yes. Do that again. Okay. So you can wet these again, not too much though, and then when they get drier, scrape them out again. But you don't have to do the scraping out technique. What you can do is, I'll show you with one of them, make a thicker mix, and once it's dry, just paint below like that. So that's another technique you can use. The scraping out technique, it sometimes works well and it sometimes doesn't. I wouldn't say I'm delighted with it this time, but sometimes it looks great. So you can also do that. Just go below it with some thicker paint. Okay, and let's leave that to dry.